Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lucy and welcome to my first video. Today we're going to be doing a fitness Q&A. I asked my Instagram followers if they had any questions regarding like their fitness journey or fitness in general, so I'm going to be answering your questions today. Before we get into the questions, make sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at lucymenning.fit. Also, a little disclaimer, okay, I am not certified in anything. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have like my PT certification or anything like that. I was gonna do that, but then I just decided not to. I feel like I can learn all that online without having to like take a test, and I hate taking tests. So maybe one day I'll do it, but today's not that day. So everything that I'm saying is just based off of my fitness journey and what has worked for me and what I know just living through life, you know what I mean? Also today, I put on like these socks. I never wear these socks. I feel different today. Question number one, sorry, I'm like looking at my notebook because my memory, like once I read something, it's gone. So like I don't remember the questions. How do I know what to do in the gym? So I have 2 tips for this that really helped me when I first started. Tip number 1 is to go with a friend, preferably somebody that knows a little bit more about the gym than you do, just so that you can kind of rely on them to do the heavy lifting, like in your mind, you know what I mean? Like obviously you're gonna have to do the heavy lifting because you're going to the gym, but you know what I'm saying, like the heavy mind lifting. Like if you go with somebody that knows a little bit more about the gym, you don't have to do anything other than the workout that they're telling you to do. It's basically like having a free coach if you have a friend that is into the gym. And honestly, even if you don't have someone that's into the gym, just going with a friend that is on the same level as you are, it's gonna make you more comfortable to figure out what you're gonna have to do. So obviously, if they're not as experienced with the gym, then that's not gonna help you know what to do in the gym, but it'll just help you be more comfortable. So either way, going with somebody might help. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to plan your workout. Everybody does different things in the gym. You're not gonna go into the gym and it's universal leg day and everybody's doing the same things. So you're gonna have to plan your own workout. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend creating your own workout, like going straight into the gym first day, create your own, just because if you don't know what movements are working what muscle groups, then you could think you're doing back, but you're doing arms. I see it all the time. If you want to create your own workout, go ahead, plan it beforehand so you can get into the gym and do exactly what you planned. If you don't want to do that, or you don't feel like you are knowledgeable enough to do that, go on YouTube or Instagram or Google or whatever and just look up like back workout and it'll come up with a back workout. Go on my Instagram and save my workouts and then try them. You're welcome. Even if you don't plan your own workout, just finding what workout you're gonna do before you get in there is gonna be super helpful. And this never stops. This is not a tip just for beginners. Like this is a tip for everybody. Planning your workout beforehand is gonna be so much more helpful and it's gonna make you feel like you know what you're doing. Top 2 tips for knowing what to do in the gym. Go with somebody who can just tell you exactly what to do, or plan it beforehand so you know exactly what to do. I can't really sit down and just give you an exact workout that you should be doing. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna. Those are my top 2 tips for knowing just what the heck to do when you walk into the gym. How do I lose body fat? So to lose body fat, you have to be in a caloric deficit, consume less calories than you're burning throughout the day. There's a few ways to do this. You could either consume less calories. So let's say you're eating 2,500 calories a day, start consuming 2,200 calories a day and exercising the same amount. So you don't have to change anything with your exercise, just consume less. Or if you're fine consuming 2,500, you don't want to go below that, then just exercise more. So you could either just add in exercise if you're not, or exercise twice a day, or up the intensity or something like that, just to make sure that you're burning more calories to be in a deficit. Also, it takes so long to see results. Please make sure that you are actually in a deficit, because when you're counting calories or whatever, if you're doing that, a lot of people, when they're counting their calories, they think they're in a deficit, but they're not, because they don't take in account the oil they use to cook and like stuff like that, or the drinks they're drinking that have calories, they just don't count them. And then they're in a surplus, or they're still in their maintenance and they think they're in a deficit, and then they're not losing any body fat. So make sure you're actually in a deficit. because if you're not, you're just going to be expecting results that aren't going to come. Make sure it's only by a few hundred calories if you are in a deficit. It's gonna be a little bit slow because progress is slow no matter what the progress is, because fast progress is not sustainable. Do I need supplements? No, you do not need supplements. A lot of people think that like once they start training they need supplements. I was one of those. I still am. I use supplements so much, but like you don't need them at all, like at all. They're there to help you. They are not there to create the change and make the progress. So no matter what supplement you're gonna take, if you're not putting in the work, your progress is still not gonna come. You can take every supplement that they sell, but if you are not putting in the work and you are not doing the correct things as far as nutrition and exercise, the supplements aren't gonna do anything. Do I need to count macros to see results? No, I don't. I hate counting my macros just because I am lazy and I just kind of eat whatever. But the main thing to see results is knowing what you're eating whole foods, and if you're trying to lose fat, the main thing, it doesn't need to be your macros, it just needs to be your calories. So if you are in a caloric deficit, you're gonna see progress. You don't need to count your macros. What is bulking and cutting? So bulking is when you're in a caloric surplus to put on muscle, and then cutting is when you're in a caloric deficit to lose fat. A surplus is when you're eating a few hundred calories more than you are burning throughout the day, and a deficit is the exact opposite, where we talked about earlier, burning more calories than you consume throughout the day. People bulk in order to put on a lot of muscle and see growth faster. So you are probably going to gain a little bit of fat when you are bulking, but that's completely normal. It's nearly impossible to like bulk without putting on any fat. I think it is impossible. You are definitely going to gain muscle as well if you're doing it correctly. The one thing I do want to say about bulking is you have to do it correctly, because if you don't, you're not going to gain the muscle you want. You're just going to get fat, if I'm being honest. I did that last year. I bulked for the first time last year. And I literally was like, oh, I'm bulking because like I'm lifting weights and I'm eating a lot. But I literally was just eating like chips, and I was just like getting fat because my muscles don't need chips. They need protein and carbs and fat and good things. And I was just eating the bad things and being like, oh, I'm in a surplus, blah, blah. Like, yes, technically I was in a surplus, but it was not a healthy one. So make sure you're still eating healthy when you're bulking, and you're not in a surplus by like 1,000 calories. Don't do that. You definitely don't need to bulk and cut, especially if you're just trying to get healthy. How do I build a booty at home? I say it's very difficult to do that. However, you can definitely build some mass and reshape your glutes at home with not a lot of weight, because most of us don't have like a lot of weight at home. But I mean, if you're really down, you can like use furniture or just heavy things you find around your house. If you don't have heavy weight, the two main things you need to focus on is training until failure most of the time. Not all the time, because your body does need a break, but training until failure. So if that means you have to do 50 reps of something because you don't have heavy weight, do those 50 reps. And the second thing is progressive overload. So progressive overload is when you are progressing in some way, whether that is increasing reps or sets or weight, time under tension, all those things. So if you're incorporating that, then you can see results. Let's say you're at home, you don't really have weights, you might have some things. So start with your body weight, and then maybe you could incorporate those like glute bands or resistance bands. Why did my voice shake? So start with your body weight and then incorporate some resistance bands, and then a few weeks later incorporate resistance bands and some weights. If you don't have like dumbbells or anything at home, that's totally fine. You can literally just use like a can of beans. I don't know, just incorporate some weight. Like just buy energy drinks, incorporate that. You're gonna need to incorporate that as time goes on, because if you don't, you're just gonna plateau. So you might see results in the beginning and see a lot of progress, and then you're gonna plateau because you're not practicing progressive overload. What's going on upstairs? The exercises you should probably be focusing on for glutes would be sumo deadlifts, sumo squats, Romanian deadlifts, glute bridges, and hip thrusts. So if you focus on those exercises and train until failure and practice progressive overload, then you should see results. But I do want to say it's going to be a lot easier to do when you have heavy weight and if you are at the gym, because the gym does have a lot more tools for you to use. But again, you don't need a gym to do that. You just need to be doing those two things I mentioned before and you will see results. How do you stay motivated? Okay, so nobody stays motivated all the time. That is a myth. It does not happen. It definitely does help if you love what you're doing. So if you love going to the gym and you love seeing progress and you love seeing yourself get stronger, you love seeing your body change, you love seeing all those things, then it's going to be a lot easier to find motivation on those days that you're not motivated. But first, make sure you're getting enough sleep, because if you're not, you probably are not going to be motivated because you're going to be too tired to want to keep up with those things. It's totally normal to have days where you're not motivated, but if you've been having a long period of time where you're not motivated and you want to get that back, there's some things I would suggest. So first, at the start of your fitness journey, take progress pictures, because when you're not motivated, you can look back at those pictures and find that motivation. So you could either be like, yeah, I don't want to look like that anymore, or yeah, I want to keep looking like that, or I don't freaking know. Wherever you are in your fitness journey, you can find that motivation through progress pictures. Another thing that I do, again, you kind of have to love it in order for this tip to work, because if you don't love the gym, then this is literally not going to help at all and probably motivate you even less. If you love the gym, what I do is I go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and I like literally watch people and their workouts, and then I'm like, I want to do that. That looks fun. Here's my motivation. Like, I want to go do that. But again, clearly if you don't love the gym, that's not going to work. So make sure you actually like going to the gym before you do that, because if not, then you're gonna be like, oh no thank you, I don't want to do that. Another thing, just take a shot of pre-workout, just right to the dome. Just take pre-workout, and then you don't really have a choice but to go work out. It really is more about dedication than motivation, because like you're not going to be motivated all the time, so you need to focus on your goals. Also, write down your goals. Like, write down your short-term, your long-term, whatever goals that you have, write them down so you can look at them when you're not feeling motivated. I personally don't do that. I probably should start. So if you want, have a little journal, write down what your goals are, and you can look back at that journal when you're not feeling motivated, and then maybe, I don't know, you'll be like, oh, you're right. Those are my goals. I need to go reach them. You know? Okay, this energy drink is gonna make me vomit. What is your best advice that you could give beginners? Focus on form when you're first starting out. So a lot of people want to go into the gym and just start lifting heavy, but that's not gonna work. Because if your form is not right, you're gonna hurt yourself. You wanna make sure that it is correct before you even use any weight. So what I would say to make sure your form is correct is to first research what the form should look like. Look it up, look at videos of people doing it, record yourself doing the movement. So literally whip out your phone, set it up, and do the movement in front of your phone and watch that video back. A lot of people just look in the mirror to make sure that they're doing it correctly, but a lot of times if you are looking in the mirror, your form's already wrong. Like, okay, for deadlifts, if you look at the mirror the whole time, which so many people do, your spine's not neutral anymore, and that messes up your form. If you're just constantly looking in the mirror every time you're doing any sort of lift, that is probably gonna mess up your form. If you start off with bad form, there's going to come a time where that form is hurting you and hurting your progress, and you're gonna have to start back at square one. You're gonna have to drop all the weight and start back with form and then build it up again. It just is gonna help you so much in the long run if you focus on that form now. Record yourself, whether that's at home or at the gym. Record yourself, Google it, have other people check your form. Just make sure your form is correct before you get into any heavy lifting. How do I create my workout split targeted at my legs? To create any split targeted at one body part, just train that body part more often than you train other body parts. So if your main goal is to grow your legs and you're doing a 5-day split, then 3 leg days, 2 upper body days, 2 rest days. Make sure that through your split, you are training that muscle group more often than the other ones. Don't forget to incorporate rest days, because that is so important when it comes to growth. Growth is literally in the recovery phase. So if you're not recovering and your muscles aren't recovering, they're not growing. So make sure that when you create your split, you are incorporating rest days. Don't do legs 7 days a week, because then they're not going to grow because they're not given the time to grow. What are the top 3 most effective workouts? So I would say compound lifts are definitely more effective than accessory lifts. So compound lifts are movements that work more than one muscle group. So like deadlifts, pull-ups, bench, hip thrusts, squats. The 3 most effective I'm gonna give 4 most effective, even though the question was 3, but I can't choose between 2. So definitely deadlifts, then squats, and then I'm between bench and pull-ups for like your full body. So if you want to work your full body and you only want to work on 3 or 4 movements, work on deadlifts, squats, and either bench or pull-ups. You can choose. I'll leave that up to you. You can choose. Are exercises at home with your body weight as effective as exercises at the gym? No. That doesn't mean you can't see progress at home with your body weight. It just means that you will probably plateau at some point. You can't really practice progressive overload as well as you could at the gym. You're not using any weight. So yeah, you can still practice progressive overload with more reps, more sets, time under tension, all that with your body weight, but weight does play a huge role in growth. It also depends on what your goal is. So if your goal is to just burn body fat, then body weight workouts can definitely be effective. Body weight workouts are good, and obviously they're better than not working out at all. But if you have a gym membership and you go to the gym, you're gonna have more tools to make your workout more effective. Your workout can definitely still be effective with just body weight. If you have access to weights, it doesn't even have to be a gym, just if you have weights at home, I would definitely try incorporating that if you want to see better progress. But again, you can still always see progress at home with body weight. You just kind of need to switch things up and make sure that you are not doing the same thing every single day for months. How many grams of protein and calories should I eat in a day? This is going to vary for every single person, so this question is not for me. It's for the internet. There's like calculators. What is it? It's not calculators, is it? I guess. Yeah, it is a calculator. So there's like calorie calculators and macro calculators and all of that online. Just Google calorie calculator and it'll tell you, because it asks for like height, weight, blah, blah, and I don't know you. And I also don't know how to calculate it, even if I did know you. To figure out how much protein you should have in a day, it's usually body weight in grams. So if you're 130 pounds, you should be eating around 130 grams of protein. But I think it is body weight in pounds, 2 grams of protein. So not in like, I don't know, what do other people measure it in? I don't know, I'm just from the US. I don't know anything else. Wait, pounds, is it kilos or stones, if you will? Yeah, I think I explained that really bad, but hopefully someone gets it. How do I get muscle definition without bulking too much? I would say for this, it's a huge misconception. A lot of people think once they touch the weights that they are going to just bulk up and become the Hulk. That's not how it works. You have to train very hard. You have to train in a certain way and eat in a certain way in order to get that bulky look. And it does take a long time. First, don't think it's gonna happen immediately. Don't think it's gonna happen on accident. It doesn't. But second, if you just want a little bit of muscle definition, you're still gonna need to touch the weights. You're still going to need to lift and lift heavy too, just because you're gonna need to grow your muscles in order to show any muscle definition. If you don't have really any muscle, that definition's not gonna be there. Second thing, definitely don't bulk. So don't eat in a surplus if you don't want that bulky look. Eat in your maintenance calories or a deficit. In order to see more muscle definition, you probably would want to eat in a deficit just because you would be losing fat. It's definitely a lot harder to grow muscle when you're in a deficit just because you're not giving your muscles all the nutrients it needs in order to grow. But again, please don't think that once you touch the weights, you're going to become the Hulk. It doesn't work like that. But I definitely would stay away from eating in a surplus if you don't want to become a little bulky. But that was the last question for today. If you guys have any more questions that I did not answer in this video, comment down below and maybe I will do a part 2. Or you could just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will answer it there. Again, make sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at lucylenning.fit. I'll see you guys in the next video.